So, real quick, let me go ahead and set up what he's saying. Let's say the entire movie is fucking flawless. 10 out of 10, perfect movie. But at the end, Sam gets punched by Red Hulk a couple times. And it makes it unrealistic. According to him, that means the movie now sucks. Even though anything else is good. Everything else is fantastic, but he got punched by Red Hulk some few times, so therefore the movie's bad. It's not a great take. It's not a great take. Let me investigate that Eric Carter one real fast. So you get to look at my face for a moment. Don't get too excited. He is a YouTuber who did lots of Marvel vs. DC stuff like I used to do. I won't mind. I don't object to doing that again, but that format takes so much time, and it's tough to honestly get views on it. God, I'm getting lots of stuff in my feed about how Star Trek is dead. It's like, it's one bad movie, guys. We've had bad Star Trek movies before. Holy shit. I guess it's a 10-minute video. We can go over this real fast, and we'll go over some Jon Stewart stuff. So, this is Eric Carter. Let's see what he has to say. Marvel lied to us again. Let's see what he's saying.
Did you see how dark and intense the new Captain America Brave New World trailer looked? The incredibly dour tone, the toned down colors, the tension-filled editing, the intense look in everyone's faces, and even its scratchy violin music that is usually reserved for horror movies. Well, what if I told you that all this is a lie? But Eric, you pinnacle of manliness, you shout at me from across the street. Why would you say that? Well, this is not the first time Marvel...
Saying pinnacle of manliness really sounds like a critical drinker thing. And also, what evidence does he have it's not a dark tone? Save maybe First Avenger, all the, like, the Russo brothers did those last two Captain America movies, and those definitely had, like, a darker vibe to them. So, how do we know this doesn't have a darker tone? Like, all those past two movies were kind of dark political thrillers. And it seems like this will be the same vibe, which is appropriate for a Captain America movie. I haven't decided if I'm going to visit Alistair Haycon. I finally got to a point where I was like, I don't know if there's any more worth to cover. I still feel my first segment's the best on it, but yes. I'm not saying I won't, but I'm saying I'm undecided at this point. Anyways, we'll see what he says, but like, we don't know what the actual tone of the movie will be. I don't know why he's saying they lied to us.
Have released a dark and intense trailer like this. They did it with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
It isn't what you think.
And we all know how that turned out.
Welcome back to the Quantum.
Okay, Ant-Man has always been a movie series that's been lighter in tone. I'm not a huge fan of Quantumania at all. I don't think it's terrible, but I don't think it's great either. But that's always been a lighter in tone movie. Dark Captain America movies have always been darker. So unless you've seen the movie and know that it's not darker, I don't see what your point is, Eric.
Scott, finish me down here.
Wait. Darren?
Surprised to see me?
They did it for the final trailer of The Marvels.
Yeah, that was just a more intense moment. Like, even in not super dark Marvel movies, there will be intense moments that they at least try to make intense.
And again, we all remember what that movie was like.
Invite her down, put her feet on the ground.
Okay. I do feel like these are interesting things to criticize here. Ant-Man and the Wasp was always a lighter franchise. Captain America or Captain Marvel or the Marvels. I mean, you're also picking and choosing your scenes because this is the musical planet. And my objection to the musical planet is they didn't do enough of it. They did it one brief scene and then did one quick joke just like, hey, stop singing. It's like, okay. And then that was it. I wasn't a fan of the Marvels, but I don't think it was terrible either. It's one of those things where it's like, even though I didn't like it, like, the hate for it was really overblown. It's like, relax, guys. It's a mid-movie. You'll be fine.
Give me a chance here before it gets
So lead the wolf.
And again, when you're actually watching the movie, my issue with the musical scene isn't really isn't that it exists. It's like do more with it. If you're going to introduce this musical element, do more with it. And I feel like you're just playing this scene, be like, ha ha, it has a musical element, which there's nothing wrong with a movie having a musical element. Fun fact, comic book movies have weird shit in them. They do. And when you cut it out of context, it might look really weird to people who don't realize that. But when you when you have it in context, you have to see if it works or not.
Sorry, stop. We need to talk.
I mean, I've never really thought of Eric Carter as a chud, but this is kind of bordering on it with his selective editing and shit and some of the phrasing. But let's see. I don't want to throw him under that bus yet because maybe he will have a nuanced reason. Maybe he got a screener of Captain America because it seems weird. Like you're also, I mean, he's comparing it to different different mini franchise within the overall franchise. Captain America movies are darker than most Marvel movies. Just on standard, they're darker.
Okay, let's talk.
Oh, wait. He doesn't have to sing? Yeah, he's bilingual.
Then why the fuck did we have to watch that
So a fun fact. When you're watching the movie, that's actually a pretty funny line. So even though I'm not a fan of the Marvels, you're actually picking a moment that I actually thought was kind of funny. I was like, I gotcha. That's funny. Because there's a planet where they sing exclusively to each other. And then she speaks normally. It's like, yeah, he's bilingual. It's like, yeah, that's kind of funny. That's funny. Come on.
cringy song number? Anyway, this just further proves how they lie
Yeah, because comic books do weird shit.
about their tone in their trailers. This did not match this, nor did the rest of the movie. Most notoriously, they did it with Avengers Age of Ultron, which looked like a straight-up horror movie going by its marketing.
Okay, this seems like really dumb already. So you're just saying, if they, like, the whole point, like, listen, dude, the goal of the trailers is to get you to watch the movie. You understand that, right? That's the goal. You know, they might make stuff that's toned more intense or something like that. The whole point is to get your butt in the seat. That's it. That's it. You know, and I don't know if I'd quite say it's a lie just because the tone's different. Especially if it's still following up scenes from the movie. And I hate to point this out to you, Age of Ultron had plenty of fucking dark stuff. That was not that was not what I would consider a light comedy movie by any means, bro.
I'm gonna show you.
Yeah, no, I'm on the record. I like Avengers Age of Ultron. It's probably my least favorite Avengers movie, but it's totally fucking solid. There's nothing wrong with it. Well, I mean, there's things wrong with it. There's things wrong with every movie, but like, it's overall a good movie.
You something beautiful. Everyone screaming for mercy.
And even though Avengers movies can get dark, and Age of Ultron gets pretty dark, I'm not sure what you're contrasting with. Like, just because a movie has a moment of levity doesn't mean the movie is overall not dark. And I'm sure you're going to find some moment of levity in Age of Ultron, but it's overall a pretty dark movie, bro. Like, come on.
You're all puppets tangled in strings. There are no strings on me.
Only for the actual movie.
I thought that was a cool trailer. What are you talking about?
You know, with the benefit of hindsight.
Yeah, he's just selecting. He's selecting light moments from these movies, being like, see, it's completely different. And it's like, you know, a dark movie can have light moments. You are aware of that, right? A dark movie is allowed to have moments of levity. As long as it's well done, that's actually good. It's good to break it up every once in a while. You can't just be dark and dour through a whole movie. It can get depressing.
To be one of the most comedic of them all, although sadly, that is no longer true. Regardless, this is the movie that crossed a line for me, and I never trusted the MCU whenever they released a dark trailer from that point on. And it turns out, I was right, because as cool as it would have been with these movies...
Wait. You're going to compare it to those three movies, but you're not actually going to compare it to another actual Captain America movie? Oh, wait, because that would actually, like, destroy your argument because you're claiming that's lying even though, um, Captain America movies are usually dark. They're usually darker.
movies, they just don't have it in them to commit to these dark trailers. Even though audiences like the tones these trailers are presenting them with, Marvel just use it to get you interested, and once you're in the theater and they have your money, it's too late. And I have constantly said on this channel for years that you cannot trust a dark trailer when it comes to Disney Marvel. The last time I said this was for the Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania trailers, and people thought that Marvel actually meant it this time, and well...
Big hole. How many holes do you have? I'm sorry, is that a personal?
I'll be honest, I don't know why people would be expecting a dark Ant-Man movie. I was never, even if the trailer was dark, I never expected a dark movie because that mini franchise, that Ant-Man movies have never been all that dark. Captain America movies have been dark, so I'd actually be kind of surprised if it's not dark. But like Ant-Man's never been dark, even if the trailer's dark. Okay, it's advertising.
No question. I don't have any holes.
They didn't.
My name is Darren, and I am not a dick!
And that's exactly what I think is going on with the latest trailer for Captain America Brave New World. The trailer itself is actually pretty good, and I would actually want to see a movie like this, but based on Marvel's track record of lying with their past trailers,
So this seems really thin, because he's not even comparing it to other Captain America movies, which would be a much more accurate comparison. If you could make that argument against Captain America movies, then okay, maybe you have something. But again, he's not gonna do that because the other Captain America movies are actually pretty fucking dark, so...
I have no reason but to believe that they're lying here too. And I'll prove it to you. Now, Captain America Brave New World had a test screening about a month or two ago, and someone went onto Reddit and decided to post what they saw on that test screening in a Reddit post, and they went through every aspect of the movie, and they said it was not a very well received test screening. Now, Marvel could always do reshoots and change things.
When was that? Hold on. Because, yeah, they'll do test screenings and then do reshoots lots of times. So this was October. Yeah, I guess that's pretty late. Okay. Do we even know if this guy actually saw it, though? Out of curiosity, let me see. Because just saying it bombs the test screening doesn't mean it's not dark, though. Let's read. We're doing a little bit of research this stream, guys. And actually, thank you for recommending this, because this is actually an interesting video to look into. Captain America Brave New World bombs at test screen. Here, let's go ahead and enlarge this so you guys can see it better. World of Real. Your place for alternative movie news? Alternative movie news. Alternative. Okay, we're gonna give this a chud test. Hold on, I have a couple little chud tests. Let's see what I can find out about this site here. Where's the search bar? How's this a website where I can't even search it? Like, there's no search bar here. It's weird. Okay, let's look at some. I guess I could just peruse the articles and see the vibe I get. I guess nothing's really standing out. I'm trying to figure out why it's an alternative site. I wonder where Elam is. He is such a sneaky cat. I can never find him. I mean, look. I don't know. I don't know what to think of this website. We'll just go ahead and go over what they say about Captain America Brave New World since this is his source. But yeah. Anyways. It's been 6 years since Steve Rogers handed over Captain America reigns to Sam Wilson, aka the Falcon, in Avengers Endgame. Wilson, Anthony Mackie, will be the lead of Julius Onan's Captain America's Brave New World. A trailer was released this summer. In the summer, 2 different cuts of the film test screen last week. So 2 different cuts. The plot details for one of the cuts have leaked online. The person who attended didn't seem to like the movie much at all. Based on the folks I've spoken to, and those who attended were either given a red or green bracelet and were split into 2 different theaters. The reactions I've heard have not been very kind to this movie, which is described as inessential and flat. You can read the leaked plot points above. If you don't want things to get spoiled for you, here's an official synopsis that was unveiled in July. Reshoots on Brave New World happened in August. Is to explain why 2 different cuts were shown last year. So this is all last year? No, last week. Oh, okay, so last year, after receiving negative test scores in the audience screening, Marvel, I know they did some pretty big reshoots for it. Kind of the way the Brave New World had originally wrapped filming in June 2023, when set for a July 2024 release date, but turned into this monstrous mess for Marvel that you don't push a movie out of this big out of your calendar and then decide to dump it in February unless some major trouble is brewing. Marvel, I think, has been releasing earlier movies. They usually do 3 movies a year. So they usually do an earlier one, and sometimes they do 2 during summer, but sometimes it'll be an early one, summer one, and then a winter one, or fall one, I should say. Not really a dumping ground as much as it's probably the best spot for it. Oh, well, they're reporting some misinformation too. Brave New World, which is said to have an epic $350 million budget. When did they write this? I mean, this was last year, so like, there were early rumors that it had a massive budget, but there wasn't anything official. So I mean, honestly, the fact that they report this kind of throws this whole website into sus. Here, let me pull up the actual budget for Brave New World. Well, here he has a screen cap. That I will accept that. So it's reported from Hollywood Reporter, and that's the correct number too. Brave New World has a $180 million budget. And he does have the link here. But yeah, it's a $180 million budget. So the fact they're reporting the number that was really shared a lot by chuds, but wasn't really verified by any official sources, kind of throws this whole article's setup and description into doubt. But yes, Marvel's the liars. True.
Screening. Now, Marvel could always do reshoots and change things later. They've already been doing reshoots at the time of making this video, and they seem to be planning to do more, and this is not new territory for Marvel. If you remember, people actually saw Paul Rudd shooting reshoots for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and it turns out those reshoots were for the ending. And he was doing these reshoots 1 month before the movie was going to release. That is how close to the release Marvel do these reshoots, guys. And that's not just a Marvel thing, it's also a
it's a studio thing. Okay, so big budget movies, frequently they'll put aside part of the budget with the intention to do reshoots. That'll be part of the initial budget estimate. You'll be like, we're gonna put some money aside because we're definitely gonna need reshoots down the road. Obviously, indie movies and stuff like that don't really have that. But when you're a big studio, you want to put aside some money, make sure you can do some reshoots in case there's some stuff you want to add, in case there's some test footage that you think the audience will like that you want to go ahead and force out there. You want to put aside a budget for reshoots. Doesn't mean there's any catastrophe or anything. Just means they're doing some reshoots because these are big studio projects meant to hit that 4-quadrant audience, meant to hit everybody. It doesn't mean it's like off the rails or anything, just means they're doing reshoots.
Disney thing, because if you remember, The Rise of Skywalker also was having constant reshoots right up to its release date. And that's partly why these budgets are so huge, because the reshoots are so expensive, and they don't necessarily make the movies.
I mean, Rise of Skywalker also made like, what, 1.2 billion? So it made its money. So, hey.
Better. Just look at the.
I'm not even defending Rise of Skywalker. I do not like that movie at all. But yeah, it definitely made its money.
Marvels for proof of that, and Ant-Man the Wasp: Quantumania, which apparently used reshoots to make the movie lighter and more joke-heavy.
Are you serious?
Lots of Marvel movies are full of reshoots. Lots of big studio movies are full of reshoots. They're kind of common for studio movies.
I don't know what to say about that either. Marvel clearly have no clue what they're doing. But bearing all that in mind, they're going to be doing.
Marvel have no clue what they're doing? They're actually a pretty big studio that manages to make the vast majority of projects that they plan, which is actually shocking. And I'm saying, like, I know Disney is the big studio, but like there are mini studio within there that will like make these big plans that like most times studios don't even like to announce those plans because a lot of them fall through because there'll be scheduling changes and stuff, so they don't like to really announce them. But Marvel got into a habit of announcing them, and DC did too. And you saw how many fell through of DC. DC has been planning. Like, we'll see how much gets done with the James Gunn. It seems like it's more on track than lots of DC stuff. But like the early DC stuff where it's like, we have all these movies planned and maybe we got half of them made. Whereas Marvel will do these big announcements and then maybe only one doesn't get made, one or two, but we'll get like everything else. It's actually really impressive track record for a studio.
Doing more reshoots for Captain America Brave New World in very much the same way. So these little details I'll tell you from the test screening, they could be subject to change as time goes on, but we'll see when the final movie releases.
I mean, they could just be bullshit too. Just saying.
Anyway, according to the leaked test screening, there were countless revelations that they told us, such as Ross eating ice lollies to make himself calm down when he feels like he is becoming the Hulk. Yeah. Gene.
Okay. You'll have to explain why that's inherently a bad thing?
Paulo Esposito is only in the opening action sequences at the beginning of the film, even though the trailer makes it out like he's the lead villain and plays a bigger part in the overall plot. The scene.
What about that trailer makes you think Giancarlo Esposito is the main villain? Ross is the main villain. Are you watching the same fucking trailer I am? Holy shit, bro. Come on, pay attention.
Where Ross hulks out, it only happens during the movie's climax, and according to the person who saw it, he said the action scene was pretty quick and disappointing. And in this action
that would be sad. That would be sad assuming this is true.
Sequence, Sam fights Red Hulk and gets punched so many times and gets back up like it was nothing, despite.
Well, I mean, we will have to see how he is punched. If it's like the commercial and he's punching the shield, then I could see why it's not a big hit.
Despite him being a human and not having the super soldier serum in him like Steve Rogers. And these are just 4 snippets of the leaked test screening. But with just this little bit of information, you can read between the lines of all this footage and the leak seems plausible.
Oh, really? Really? Read between the lines. I don't remember Eric Carr being like, I didn't really agree with him a lot, but like, this is bad, bro. This is bad. This is kind of bordering on that chud mentality where it's like you just looking for shit to hate on at this point. You're looking for outrage, looking to get people pissed.
Both trailers, the only clips we get of Ross hulking out is this one scene. We only see Esposito in these very similar locations, and it could mean that they are keeping the rest of his scenes under wraps, or it could mean the test screening leak was right and he only appears in this opening action scene.
I don't remember for sure. I thought Giancarlo Esposito was mainly in the reshoots, which means he probably has only one scene. He might be the opening villain. And at the end of the day, even like I wouldn't mind a bigger role for him because he's a good actor. But like, if the overall movie is good, then fine. Like, I mean, they did that build up to Crossbones where we saw the dude in when the Winter Soldier and we saw him got injured. And then, like, he was just the opening villain in Civil War, but, like, still a great movie, so.
Sequence. Although Esposito did say that he's going to be doing reshoots soon, so maybe they will write him more screen time, I don't know. But ultimately, that's why I don't trust this much darker tone that this trailer is promising. It seems like another marketing ploy to trick audiences into getting excited for a much darker MCU movie, even though the MCU always chicken out when it comes to fully embracing the darkness, even though
Are you just why are you ignoring the past Captain America movies? Hell, man, Infinity War is dark. It gets fucking dark. Literally the movie where the superheroes just fucking lose. And half the population of fucking everywhere dies. But Marvel chickens out, right? Right? Bro.
Their trailers never seem to chicken out. And on a side note, I know this poster is trying to reference the comic book cover, but it doesn't make any sense. How can Sam be fending off this punch from a Hulk with the Captain America shield? The shield won't take damage, but Sam will. I mean...
well, I mean, they even, like, okay, so, they aren't consistent with this, but they in the movie, they do define the shield as being 100% vibration absorbent. Now, they're not completely consistent. They'll have it hit laser blast and be taken back. But if they follow the fact that they explain that the shield's 100% vibration absorbent, then yes, it can absolutely take a punch from Hulk. It can pretty much take a punch from anything, and he'd be fine. That's the shield's awesome that way. I know they're inconsistent in the usage of it, but when they define it, that's what it does.
I mean, he's a human, so one punch from a Hulk will kill him, and he doesn't.
That's why he's blocking it with the shield. And we're also assuming Red Hulk is stronger than, or as strong as regular Hulk, and I don't know much about Red Hulk, I'll admit. But I'm pretty sure Red Hulk isn't as strong as normal Hulk.
Doesn't have the arm strength to deflect a punch with the shields. I mean,
oh my god, it's a fucking superhero movie, bro. The shield could take an impact from Thor's hammer. Yes, it could take a punch from Hulk. Yes.
Wrist would just snap like
That's true. He's supposed to have a Wakandan-made suit, so that would probably help with Hulk punches as well. This is why it's really bad to review a movie before you've fucking seen it. Because that's pretty much what he's doing at this point. He's reviewing Captain America Brave New World, and he hasn't even fucking seen it. This is Critical Drinkers. You know, and he said the thing earlier about being super handsome like Critical Drinker would. Is he trying to copy Critical Drinker's style? I think he is. I think this guy wants to be a Critical Drinker clone.
Twig. In the comic book illustration, the Captain America doing this is Steve Rogers, who has been injected with a super soldier serum. So this image makes sense in that context, but not in this one. And
he's punching the shield, bro. It's a comic book shield that can absorb Thor's hammer. Using the comic book logic, if you accept the comic book logic of the shield, yes, it could absorb a punch from the Hulk. It's the fucking shield. Oh my, yeah. And like Byron's saying, it's a fucking homage. Yes, it's not Steve Rogers. It doesn't mean they can't borrow it, because even though he's not Steve Rogers, he is Captain America. So it makes sense you could borrow that image. Come on, bro.
How are these sparks coming out of the shield after it's being hit by flesh and bone? Again.
Oh yeah, it's like it's a silly comic book movie. Whoa, what?
Get what they're trying to do, but they are doing it at the expense of their own universe's logic. Which, if this is the lack of logic in the poster, then what lack of logic will be in the movie? Because if it is true what is said in the leaked test screening, and Red Hulk repeatedly punches Sam and he survives, that is enough to ruin the movie, and show that they can't even...
So, real quick, let me go ahead and set up what he's saying. Let's say the entire movie is fucking flawless. 10 out of 10, perfect movie. But at the end, Sam gets punched by Red Hulk a couple of times, and it makes it unrealistic. According to him, that means the movie now sucks. Even though anything else is good. Everything else is fantastic, but he got punched by Red Hulk some few times, so therefore the movie's bad. It's not a great take. It's not a great take.
Even maintain basic continuity. In a world that has rules such as super soldiers and humans, there has to be a distinction. You can't have a human survive something that a super soldier can. That will just enforce a complete dismantling of the rules that this universe had set up.
Yeah, it's almost like maybe he has a Wakandan suit. Maybe there's some alternate reason why he survives. Maybe he isn't punched by Red Hulk because, again, these are just leaks. From an unverified source. The fuck? This is why you don't review something before you've fucking seen it yourself.
Plus, I can almost guarantee that there is going to be even more MCU comedy in this movie than they are letting on in the trailer.
I mean, I suspect because it's a Captain America movie, it'll have less comedy than normal, but even the Captain America movies, yeah, there's a little bit of comedy. Comedy is actually kind of an important ingredient, especially in a darker movie, just to break it up. You don't want to be 100% dour. It's good to break it up. The Dark Knight movies had comedy, for fuck's sake, bro. Comedy is not inherently bad. Yeah, I heard Deadpool and Wolverine might have some comedy too. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. There's 1 or 2 jokes maybe in that one.
Trust me, Disney Marvel just can't help themselves, and they have a knack for doing this. They will lean so heavily into the comedy, but they won't lean so heavily into the darkness. It's like they're terrified to do it.
And he again referenced Shang-Chi, not referencing another Captain America movie, which I think would be a better comparison because it's a Captain America movie. Just saying.
Or something. In spite of that though, they have no problem pushing the darkness in their trailers. I've asked this before and I'll ask it again. If they know this is the kind of serious tone we want, why don't they actually give it to us? They shouldn't have to lie to us.
I, again, have to wonder why you thought an Ant-Man movie would be like this super dark, edgy movie. It's an Ant-Man movie. I wouldn't think it'd be dark and edgy at all. Like, even if the trailer's implying it, I won't believe that for a second. Come on. It's Ant-Man.
In the marketing, the tones they're trying to sell us on in these trailers should have been the tone they went with.
And yes, Age of Ultron was actually pretty dark. Yeah, it had comedy moments, but it definitely had dark edges too. Come on.
As they started filming. Instead, this just looks like another soulless and inferior Winter Soldier knockoff. You know, after all the other ones. Why do they have to make it the same base level PG-13?
Those were weird examples. Let's look over those examples real fast. So these are Winter Soldier hold on.
Like another soulless and inferior Winter Soldier knockoff. You know, after all the other ones.
I wouldn't consider any of those knockoffs of Winter Soldier. Probably the closest in tone would be Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which would make sense. It's more of a political story. Black Widow was kind of a spy espionage thing, and I don't know, that got fairly dark. I wouldn't call it as good as the Captain America movies. It's fine. Thunderbolts. Thunderbolts is an interesting one to put up there because it's not even fucking out yet. So why is that in the comparison? Like, we don't even know what that movie is about, bro. We're still learning. The fuck. And then Secret Invasion, I would say, if you're looking for darker tone, actually did have the darker tone. It kind of fucking sucked, but it did actually have the fucking darker tone that he was looking for. Because, fun fact, darker tone doesn't necessarily mean good. It doesn't. Because Secret Invasion had that darker tone. And I actually think Secret Invasion was all right until the last episode just completely fucked up everything. I was just like, how do you do this spy espionage thriller starring Nick Fury? How do you do that series and then end it with a battle between the two most powerful super beings in the Marvel Universe we've ever fucking seen? That should not be the ending to that series. That series was throughout most of it was literally an espionage thriller. That should be what the ending is. Maybe some sort of action scene with Nick Fury outsmarting somebody. Like, they're building up the Super Skrull, and I thought it would have to be Nick Fury that figures out some way to outsmart the Super Skrull and beat him. And instead, it just turned into this fucking superhero mess, and I fucking hated it. Because it was like building up something kind of cool, and it just fell back on like old superhero standards, and it was very disappointing that it did that. But again, I don't think I would call any of these knockoffs of Winter Soldier at all. So, actually, yeah, how are these knockoffs of Winter Soldier, by the way? Story-wise, they're not really similar. Falcon and Winter Soldier and Secret Invasion might have similar tones. That's about it. Like, what?
Why do they have to make it the same base level PG-13 rating when they can push it and give us something more mature? But
well, if there is something in the movie that would ask it to be R-rated, then I think they should make it R-rated. But if the actual story is good and that story only needs to be PG-13, then I'm fine with PG-13. Again, we have to judge the movie after it's come out, and then it's impossible to judge if that's an appropriate rating for it until we've fucking seen it, bro.
No, they'd rather trick us into thinking it's more mature instead of actually making it more mature. Now, I'm not saying this movie is going to be as light as the Marvels or something, but the trailer is giving us the impression that it is going to be so dark and so
Taki, I would actually be fine if Amelia Clark popping up later in the franchise as a completely different character and they just kind of forget about that whole shit, because that was so unnecessarily silly. Just like, what the fuck? Ugh.
serious, and that every plot point is so incredibly calculated by this mastermind.
Captain America. You ever ask yourself, who's playing who?
When really, it's just going to be another poorly written and reshot to hell MCU movie. And by the way, if you read the rest of the leaked test screening like I have, then you will be surprised at how much the trailer manipulates you into thinking that there is this big calculated political storyline with Giancarlo Esposito as the ringleader. It's a complete lie, and unless they give him
Again, I don't see how he's reading Giancarlo Esposito being the main villain. I don't get that at all.
a much bigger role.
And yeah, you're bringing up a good point, Damien Hawk Gaming. Mature doesn't need to be dark, violent. It is the tone. Exactly.
The story with more reshoots, you are going to be very disappointed.
Not necessary. You know, sometimes reshoots are done to edit the story. Sometimes reshoots are done because they fucked up the original shoot, but they didn't catch it when they were shooting it. So they're like, oh, fuck, we need to fix that. There's all types of reasons to do reshoots.
CGI in many parts also looks terrible, but that's part of the course with these MCU projects.
The special effects, honestly, for all movies have been kind of spotty for a while. It's not just MCU, although MCU definitely subject to it. Black Widow definitely had some shoddy effects, for sure. Deadpool and Wolverine, I don't recall having. I recall that looking fine. I'm trying to think what else is there. I don't recall the Marvels. Like, I wasn't a fan of the Marvels. I don't recall the effects being particularly shoddy. Yeah, they definitely had an issue with effects for a while. They definitely did. But like, that was across the board. That wasn't just Marvel.
Projects lately. They are so expensive, yet look so cheap. So only time will...
How? Well, wait. That's an example of a scene that looks cheap to you? Wait, what? That looks cheap?
Expensive, yet looks...
So that looks cheap? I mean, it's obviously a studio, I'll give you that, but like, it looks fine. I mean, in the moment, I'll probably be down for it. I mean, this is also the issue. You're cherry picking shit, man. You're seriously cherry picking to make your argument, because if you don't cherry pick, you have no argument. Because the truth is, you have no argument.
So cheap. So only time will tell what these movies are actually like, but all of Marvel's trademarks, their poor planning, their constant rewrites and reshoots to fix a lackluster script and broken movie, all of those bad habits and more are still here. And just think about it. All of these MCU projects had very well edited trailers, but just like how they failed to deliver on the darker tone, I have absolutely zero faith that Captain America Brave New World will live up to it. It's a pattern of behavior with the MCU, and if I am wrong, I will happily admit it when the movie comes out. But as of right now, those are the reasons why I believe that Marvel is lying to you. Now there's one...
Well, I will give him credit for at least admitting that he might be wrong, because I suspect he will be. But yeah, that is a key example. This is why you don't review stuff before you've seen it, man. Yeah, anyways, it was a bad video.
Books, records, films, these things matter. Call me shallow. It's the fucking truth.